Well, good morning and welcome to Yellowstone National Park. Alrighty, fellow travelers, welcome back to Adventures of a Traveling Don and our continued journey to Alaska. And today we are here in the iconic Yellowstone National Park. We're starting off on the north end and we're going to kind of loop out and then through around on the west end. Most people usually start on the west end where the town of West Yellowstone is. We're here in a small town called Gardner, Montana. And of course, we're just outside of the North Gate here in Yellowstone. So you definitely want to check this out. It's kind of about 9 o'clock in the morning, so it's a little crisp. It's still like the third week of May. And it's literally like 40 degrees out right now. And I also have a buddy of mine, Mr. Chadwick Lewis, is joining me for this particular video. And guys, let's go hit up Yellowstone National Park. By the way, if you're here in the morning and you need a pick-me-up before you head into the park and you're on the north side, definitely check out Yellowstone Park just to get your coffee to get you going. Oh, in particular on a chilly day like this, this warms you up good. Okay, so your first stop when you're coming in through kind of like the North Gate is a little town called Mammoth, which has, of course, Fort Yellowstone behind me. This fort was built back in the late 1800s, early 1900s to basically kind of protect this area as they were kind of setting it up for being the first national park in the world. And that, of course, is what Yellowstone really is. And they started that process, I think, back in the 1870s and was finished when Teddy Roosevelt took office as president. But anyway, it is the fort's pretty much still intact. You can check it out. Of course, you have the main visitor center that you want to check out. They've got a lot of kind of really cool stuff in there, not just information, but they have, of course, sort of like exhibitions of some of the animals that you can see within the park when you're driving around, hiking around, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot to see, a lot of information to get here. Of course, it's one of the major restroom points before you go into the park. So definitely get all your stuff here and then head into the park. So your first major attraction when you leave Mammoth and coming into the park is going to be Mammoth Hot Springs. And there's a few different levels to it. We're here at the base level, so you have kind of all these beautiful white and different colored rocks here, basically because you have the springs up top and you can see where the steam's all coming from, and the water will even kind of rush down, and it's constantly changing the rocks just with, you know, all the it smells. You can smell it. It smells like that sulfur. So it's actually really, really kind of cool. I love just like the formations here of the rocks. It looks almost like when you do like a cave, you go into a cave, except, you know, this is much brighter. Obviously it's on the outside instead of inside, but it is really kind of cool. They have the big rock called the Liberty Cap. Not exactly sure what it's capping, but it is a just huge pillar of a rock. But we're going to head up to the upper part of the springs in a minute, but just this part is actually really nice. So we're here on the upper terraces of the Mammoth Springs, and as you can see, number one, beautiful, absolute beautiful views. And then you can even see where kind of like the springs are and where you saw earlier where the water was coming down from. Those are the springs over there. So, but gorgeous views. All right, so we're actually from the Mammoth Hot Springs. We doubled back towards, we're heading the northern route. And I've never actually done this particular route when I did Yellowstone when I was, 16. So this is absolutely gorgeous. You know, it's less people. Most people don't take this route. We're heading towards the Tower Junction and the Roosevelt Tower. But good God, this pull off right here is just behind me. It's just absolutely amazing. You can't believe the views here. And just along the road, there's less people, it's less trafficked. So it's definitely worth coming. If you want to do like that whole full loop, definitely come up here to the northern part, whether you're doing it on the backside or you're taking it from Mammoth Springs and then going around to like Canyon Village and stuff. It's well worth it. You're going to hear this over and over and over again in this particular video, but just the way that the landscape changes is just phenomenal. This is just a little pullout. I don't even know if there's a name for this little spot, but it's kind of cool because you have, look at this rock formation behind me here is really nice. And then you have, of course, behind you here, it's just fantastic. So our next spot and the last spot on the North Loop that we're going to check out is here at the Tower Falls Overlook. And as you can see behind me, you got the Tower Waterfall. Absolutely gorgeous and majestic. Definitely worth coming all the way out here. We are going to unfortunately have to turn around and then kind of circle back past Mammoth Springs and then head south from there. That's usually the main route. We took this northern route. We were going to do the whole loop and head towards like Canyon Village and some other places. But it looks like this early in the season, that part of the road is still closed. Not exactly sure why, because I don't think there's any snow, but I think there might be some construction, like a new bridge or something that they're working on. But anyway, we came up here and it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, road closure. Well, okay, time to backtrack. But anyway, it was worth it to come here for the falls and all those views that you saw on the way up here. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So obviously one of the biggest attractions of Yellowstone National Park is, of course, the wildlife, and you're going to see it everywhere that you go. Sometimes it'll be something quick that you're just passing by and you glimpse it, but otherwise, always keep your eyes open and have your cameras ready. If you want to, you can slow down, just don't really ever fully stop traffic. Don't get out of your car on the main thoroughfares. If you have to get out of your car, wait until you get to one of the side exits where you can just kind of pull out. Now, in those places, you might not see it. You might actually come across, the wildlife in an area where you can't pull out. Honestly, if they're right there next to the road, I wouldn't pull out and stop anyway and get out. Don't be one of those dummies that do that and people, post them on, on social media and stuff, because these animals will mess you up. Do not tempt a bison, an elk with those horns, even a bear. Honestly, because they have rules, if you're outside your car, particularly, stay, X amount of meters, feet away from, I think with bears, it's like 100 feet or something like that. With bison, it's like 25, because those things in a flash can come right at you. But even still, always keep your eyes open, because it is really kind of cool to just see these guys grazing right next to the road. Like, just minding their own business. And it's really kind of cool. So one of the first spots after you go south past Mammoth Springs, as you're heading towards like Old Faithful and Norris, I recommend stopping at Clearwater Springs. It's kind of like the beginning of this section where you start to actually get some of the seismic activity stuff when it comes to, the springs and the geysers. You get kind of like just a couple of hot springs at Clearwater Springs, but it's the creek that runs through it. And then of course you have like the little hot springs on the side. It's actually kind of a cool little combination that they got, and nobody really stops here. So always be on the lookout for those little spots where no one stops. So remember when I told you guys to keep your eyes peeled? Also, when you see a lot of people kind of starting to hover, sometimes it's nothing. I mean, there was one that we saw that was literally everybody stopped for a fox. But this one right here, there's like 3 bears just off the end. You'll see it. It'll be a little grainy because you have to keep yourself a good distance away because those bears can run up to about 45 miles per hour, particularly the grizzlies. But there's 3 of them out there. I think, are those grizzlies? Yeah, these are grizzlies. And there's 3. Like the fact that you see 3, it almost looks like full grown. Maybe a couple of them are like big adolescents, but it is absolutely fantastic that we got to see 3 of them. It's really cool. So once you hit Norris, you can either go straight or you can take a left to head to Canyon Village, and that's where we're at right now. This is kind of like a nice little big pit stop here. You have an education center, which talks a lot about the supervolcano, which is, of course, Yellowstone. It's basically one big volcano, which I believe is a few thousand, if not 10 some odd thousand years past overdue for an eruption. So you never know when that's going to happen. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Well, this video wouldn't come out if it happened now. But anyway, it does also have a gift shop store, the learning center, of course, and then, they do have a soda fountain restaurant. There's also the Canyon Lodge as well. But there's quite a bit here to check out and get the lay of the land. And if you have to get something to eat, I got myself a little cheeseburger. It's kind of basic, but, it was still good enough to fill the belly. And then we'll head on to the next spot. So if you're on the Grand Loop and you're basically coming from Canyon Village and you're heading on the east side of it, heading down towards Yellowstone Lake and Lake Village, you're going to go through basically Hayden Valley. And there is a lot to see in Hayden Valley. From the falls that, of course, basically cut between a canyon, which is known as the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone, and then it opens up in this wide sweeping valley. We ran across another grizzly, so that's like 2 grizzly sightings. That's 4 grizzlies in one day so far. And then, of course, you'll come across here, the Sulphur Springs behind me. And you ever like that smell of rotten eggs? Even if you don't, it's impressive to see. But boy, hold your nose, because it is stinky out here. But even still, it is really cool. All the geological, the natural, beauty of this place is just absolutely fantastic. And this east side of the Grand Loop that runs through Hayden's Valley, definitely well worth coming to see. So right next to the Sulphur Springs is the mud volcano, and it's basically known because it's just all bubbling, boiling mud in a lot of places. But behind me is called the Dragon's Mouth, and as you can see, you can almost imagine a dragon being inside that cave spewing all that smoke, because it is just crazy the amount of sulfur and smoke that's coming out of there. And of course, it's got like this wave action where it comes. It actually, at one point in time, the waves used to come all the way up to where the boardwalk is. Since 1994, it's kind of subsided a little bit, but even still, you have this kind of interesting wave action that you don't see, I don't think, anywhere else. But really, really cool. And this whole mud volcano area is awesome. course, what everybody has been waiting for. Behind me here is Old Faithful, and this is sort of like the star attraction of Yellowstone National Park. Now, when you come here, of course, it's a huge, this is the most popular spot here in Yellowstone. So you're going to come here. They've got the huge lodge. They've got the visitor center. You can learn a lot of different stuff about Old Faithful and the geyser system here in Yellowstone National Park. It's a natural marvel and wonder. It's fantastic. But there's even a lodge here. Like, you can stay here for rooms. I'm not exactly sure what the price is, but definitely, if you are looking for a room, definitely check it out on planet.com. I'll leave a link below. But anyway, so Old Faithful is behind me. There are also other smaller springs. I think maybe even like one or two smaller geysers, but of course, the main one is Old Faithful. And they will always have the estimated time of when it's supposed to happen. It's usually on average, 90 minutes, the geyser goes off, but it can be as quick as like 35, 40 minutes in between, and sometimes all the way up to like 120 minutes. So it can be anywhere from a half hour to about 2 hour wait time between each eruption. It just all depends. You cannot control Mother Nature. She decides when to erupt. But anyway, yeah. So we are waiting as of right now. I think I've got about potentially anywhere from about 10 to another 25 minutes. They usually have about a 90% success rate on getting that 10 minutes before, 10 minutes after window of, so example would be right now, I'm waiting for 6:49 p.m. For this particular time for it to go off. So anywhere from 6:39 to 6:59 with a 90% chance success rate. So we shall see. Either way, enjoy the show. So that one was a bit of a quicker one, which means that the next one that erupts will be a much shorter time period. So I was talking to a guy, I think he's one of the tour guides around here, and he was telling me the average is about 3 to 5 minutes. If it's at 3 minutes, and there's someone usually in the lodge that's kind of clocking it, and the moment that they clock it, say it's 3 minutes, then that next average is going to be about an hour. If it's 5 minutes, it's about an hour and a half. This one was less than, I think, 2 minutes in total. It had a few spurts in there, but like the actual full eruption was maybe about a minute and a half to 2 minutes. So the next eruption might be less than an hour. So it's kind of hard to predict that. It actually used to be 60 minutes on the dot for hundreds of years, at least recorded history-wise, going back to the natives and, of course, the settlers and the early fur trappers and the pioneers out here. There was a huge, I think like 7.2 or 7 Richter scale something earthquake not too far from here in Wyoming that basically shifted a lot of the tectonic plates down there, particularly with all the aftershocks. So it ended up changing the dynamics of Old Faithful. So Old Faithful no longer was as Old Faithful or as faithful as it is now, or as it was back then. So it's kind of cool how nature does that. But anyway, yeah, that was a lot of fun. So a fun little bonus at the end of that was as we're trying to leave the parking lot for Old Faithful, this one bison just starts walking through the parking lot right in front of us and right in front of everybody else. That was absolutely fascinating. Again, even if they get that close to you, don't antagonize them. Try and stay out of their path. He had obviously he had his direction where he was going, but even still, don't be a tourist moron, or as we call him, a Toron. But that was actually a nice little cherry on top. That was cool. So the last major spot that we are going to be seeing here in Yellowstone National Park is Grand Prismatic. And this is kind of like, I believe it's the world's largest hot spring. Technically it's a geyser. It is the Excelsior geyser. However, it is very infrequent as to when it erupts. And when it does, it's on a scale where you probably don't want to be where I'm standing right now. I think like the last time it erupted was 1985, and before that was like 1890. So it's unpredictable as to when it does, but when it does, it's supposed to be absolutely epic. I think in 1985, it was like 47 straight hours of just mass eruption and, chaos. And then of course, it settled down. So it's unpredictable. Hopefully, once again, it doesn't erupt when I'm here. Obviously, if that happens, this video won't come out, or someone will find the footage, hopefully, eventually, and then post it. Either way, it's very pretty. And you get cold days like this. I'm here in the third week of May, but it is still very, very chilly. As you saw, there was some snow at like the higher elevations. And I'm thinking with all the cold air, and of course, it's been a little windy as well, it kind of lets off a little bit more steam. So you can't really see as much as sometimes you will on a calmer day, but even still, absolutely gorgeous place. Alrighty, Travel Dons, that's going to be the end of this particular Yellowstone video. I figured I would finish it off with, of course, this particular beautiful sunset view behind me. We're about a couple miles outside of West Yellowstone, and we're basically just going to head straight back to Bozeman. So I hope you guys appreciated this particular video. If you have any comments, leave them down below. This was an awesome trip, awesome day out. It's been almost about 11, 12 hours that we've been on the road, but it is absolutely gorgeous. This park, I haven't been here since I was 16, so it's been about 22 years, and it just as glorious as it was before. So, but anyway, guys, if you liked the video, give it a big old thumbs up, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. If you want to help support the travels, I do have a Patreon page and a Buy Me a Coffee account. And until we meet again, guys, peace out. Have a great night.